CodeSpring version 2 is a massive improvement over version 1. Essentially, what CodeSpring is a planning tool to help you design any app. If you're non-technical, or if you're technical, if you have a team of people working with you, you can build and design as many projects as you want using CodeSpring. You can also now go ahead and create organizations and invite your team members if you're on the business plan. We can come into here and we can see there's a mind map of all of the different projects that I've been planning and how they all go together. So for example, here we have an app called a 2D to 3D floor plan visualizer. We have CodeSpring Orchestrator on the right hand side here. So you can see I actually built up this plan just by talking to the chatbot. Orchestrator can go ahead and search the web, and in fact we also have the ability to add external MCPs. So if you want to add anything for your business, like for example you want to integrate into Notion or Google Drive, Google Docs or anything like that, if there's an MCP for it, you can add it into CodeSpring and give Orchestrator external knowledge on all of that stuff. I'll do a dedicated video on that as well. Part of those things are available on the Pro plan. Some more of them will be available on the business plan as well while we add in new features for that. So it can find competitors for you, search the web, and it can also go ahead and figure out the tech stack for you. So CodeSpring is going to help you build apps on any platform, whether it's Lovable, Cursor, Bolt, Replit, V0, Base44, whichever platform you want, whether you want to build iOS or web applications, Chrome extensions, or anything, you can design it and build it on CodeSpring. Because of our MCP, if you have an app that you've already built on Lovable, for example, you can actually send that plan directly over to CodeSpring and it will build a mind map for you, which means you can then continue to plan out new designs and new ideas and new features for your app inside CodeSpring, and then just come back into Lovable, tell it to read the CodeSpring plan and continue building the new features. Once it's made the changes, tell it to go ahead and update CodeSpring so it can keep in sync with all of your projects. So if you would like to trial this software as a business, you can go ahead and click the top link down below in the description. You can invite up to 10 different team members. We're going to give you over 100,000 credits. Plus, we're going to get on a one-on-one onboarding call with you and I, and we're going to give you a dedicated support channel. If you go ahead and click the link down below in the description, you can go ahead and read a little bit more about it. Usually, a business plan would be $9,657 per year. You can try it today 100% risk-free for 7 days for $0. And then once that time is up, if you still don't want to use the software, we'll cancel your subscription. We'll get on a call with you. If you still don't want to use the software, we'll cancel your subscription. But if you do want to keep using it, it's £187 per month, and that's the best deal that we have going at the moment. So if you would like to try it, I definitely recommend grabbing a free trial in the link down below. There have been a couple of changes on the mood boarding and how everything kind of goes together. So I'm going to take you into this feature here. So first of all, you can see this is another project that I've started planning called a note taker, and I did all of this through Orchestrator. Now, if I'm using autopilot, again, it's going to take a little bit longer. If I'm using fast mode, obviously it's going to do it quicker, but it's not going to be as good an output. So if you're working on a more complicated project, I definitely recommend being on autopilot. Now, you can see as you're sending messages how many credits you're actually using. If you want to keep up to date with the amount of credits your account is using, if you click this button, this button here, you can see how many credits you've got remaining for the month, and you can see the plan that you're on. We're going to add the ability so you can go ahead and purchase more credits if you would like, and also how you can go ahead and upgrade onto the business plan to get access to organizations as well. Now, inside the mind map, there's some really exciting things. If you want to, you can change it from dark mode to light mode just by clicking this button up here. We've got one of my personal favorites, which is clicking this little button up here, which allows you to actually change the background. So for example, if you are working for a long time, you can set it into lo-fi mode and you can set a custom background, and every single background that you set will remember to your account. So if you go ahead and log in on a different account, it will remember the view that you've got on your account, whichever computer you're working on, which is a nice little update that we added. You can see there's loads of different ones. If you'd like us to add new updates to backgrounds, please do let us know and we will go ahead and do that. But yeah, it's something I kind of like, and you can also play lo-fi music as well. So it tunes into Lo-Fi Girl radio, so you can just play some music. I know a lot of you like to vibe code with some music, so we wanted to make that a little bit more enjoyable for you, which is quite cool. Now we are actually adding in, and I'll show this a little bit more when I get into the organization mode, the ability to change views. Okay, and this kind of helps if you have team members working with you in an organization where you've got engineering team and you've got marketing team. Because CodeSpring can actually search the web and it can do external things when you use external MCPs, you can actually create plans for your project like competitors, for example, or target audience, or goals for your business, which are all kind of marketing related. We're actually creating a view which will allow you to swap between engineering teams or marketing teams. So for example, the marketing team won't have to see all the technical documentation on how to build a feature, which actually leads me into that next thing, which is when you're actually designing your mind map, you can use Orchestrator, but you can also design it manually by clicking add card, labeling a feature, giving it a description, Now, what's different in version 2 to version 1? Well, in version 2, you used to be able to click on one of these features, for example, and then what you could do is actually add what we call here, which are essentially bridges. But what we can do now is, let me just delete this one. You can delete nodes by just selecting them and clicking delete on the bottom. All you need to do now to do the same thing is just right-click, and you can add it to a bridge, or you can add it as context. And I'll tell you context in a second, which is really exciting. So add a bridge here. We can give it a name. I would give it the same name as the feature, and then you can see it puts it up here, but I'll just pull it down here, and we can now actually start to take notes on how we want that to work. So we could add notes, for example. We can just click on edit. We can write notes on here, and also as you're building, remember to save. So on the top left it says not saved. You can either click the save button down on the toolbar, or you can do Command S on your keyboard, which will also save it as well. You can also add mood boards, which is something I'm really excited about. We're working on new features for this as well. But if there's a feature you're working on like this, for example, and there's some design of what you want it to look like, you can upload context for the AI to then, okay, well, you can see your design team, or when you're building, you can reference back to these images. But also when you go ahead and generate requirement docs, which you can do very easily by clicking this drop down here and clicking generate PRD, and just coming over to here, you can actually go ahead and select front end UI, and what it will do is it will generate a product requirement doc for how to build the front end, and it does that based on the notes that you've taken for that feature, the information for what that feature is, and also trained on the images that you've uploaded. So it sends those images to our model, which does all of this in context with how the rest of your app is built. It understands things like the tech stack, it knows the competitors, it knows how you've planned out your entire app, and it will design a front end. Now, we can actually create multiple types of product requirement docs in version 2. So we've changed it from version 1, where we've given you a lot more control, and we actually split things up a little bit more. So you can create a front end product requirement doc. You can see it's obviously typing in here. We can take a back end one, and we can also do a database design requirement doc, which is, again, also incredibly exciting. So I'm going to get the database design one going over here for this feature here, for example. But where this gets really exciting is if I am working on a feature and I change how I want this feature to work, for example, what will happen is if I want to go ahead and update this requirement doc, or I change the notes on how this feature works, then if I go ahead and I regenerate a requirement doc down here, or I create a new feature or requirement doc, it knows how every other feature works. So if there's any features that interlink and you create changes on the design of them or anything like that, all you need to do is come into here, close or delete the requirement doc, and then just go ahead and regenerate the requirement doc for that specific feature, and it would use up-to-date information on how all of your other features work, and up-to-date information on how obviously those new notes are, for example. So very, very exciting what you can now do with CodeSpring version 2. We're adding lots of new features. If there's any ideas of things you would like to see, please let us know, but we'll add those in for you as well. Now, if you want to delete things, all you need to do is select it and click on delete in the toolbar at the bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and put this back on the default dark mode. But what you can also do, which is very exciting, is we can actually have our orchestrator chat up here. Let me just move myself into the corner. We can put it on autopilot or fast mode, and we can actually right click on a feature that we're working on, and we can actually add it to context to orchestrator, which basically means now we can say, well, we're honing on a specific feature, and I like to do this in a brand new chat, and I would like to say, okay, we're going to work on this one here, and you can send context or information to orchestrator on how to actually take notes on that specific feature, or design this specific feature, or create requirement docs for this specific feature, and it just means you can actually dial in. You can do this with everything in the app. So by default, orchestrator will go ahead and find the information that it needs, but if you want to really target it, you could, for example, select all of the features and you could add them in, or you could say, actually, instead of doing that, for now, let's go ahead and let's just add all of the competitors, for example, or actually I want to add the tech stack to the chat, and we need to fix this bug here, which we'll do. We can go ahead and hone in on the tech stack and make changes to the tech stack. So that's quite exciting as well. So just a summary, if you want to add context to any of your, I can't do it there, sorry, any of your features, right click, you can add bridge where you can add and take additional notes, or you can add that to context as well. So that's kind of like how the mind map works. We've obviously got the MCP, and I'll make some dedicated videos on this. I touched on this a minute ago, but essentially we have integrate CodeSpring, which allows you to create an MCP. And if we come to Lovable, for example, I've got this app that I've been working on. I'll do a quick demonstration for you now. We can actually copy this URL here. We can come to our settings and come down to integrations and come to add MCP server. Now, I will say you have to be on Lovable Business to do this. Obviously, that's out of our control. Give it a name. I'm going to call it CodeSpring. Give it the URL. And you've got two choices here. We'll make this easier for you. You can either generate an API key here, and you can copy this command where you could give to cursor, for example, or you could create a custom one. But in this case, you can see it's generated a key for us. So we can either copy this command and then put it somewhere in like notes and then copy the API key. Alternatively, what I do is I come down to here on the bottom left, I click on let me just move my face and click on API keys, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to generate a new key, give it an expiration date, and then we're just going to copy the API key from there. We're going to come to here and we're going to say bearer token or API key, and then just paste it in like that. And now what this is going to do is it's going to give Lovable a whole load of tools that it can do and access for CodeSpring. So for example, it can go ahead and get all of our projects, it can get sync the data from our project, it can pull in information, it can update things on our mind map, and it can also use this to send this information directly to our projects that we're working on. So for example, if I'm working on this one here, I could come into, I could create a new project, for example, and I could say, build me the, whatever the name of the project was. So it's the, I can actually just, I'll tell you what, I'll just copy this here. Build me the 2D floor plan visualizer. The plan is inside CodeSpring. Okay, we're going to send this, and we're currently actively updating this, so we'll hopefully see this works. Lovable's down at the moment as well, so this may cause some issues here. So you can see here it says I'm going to fetch the requirements from CodeSpring, so it's going to list all of the workspaces, and it's going to find, okay, what are the names of the workspaces that we have available to us. So we've got Note Taker, we've got 2D Floor Plan, and this new project here, so hopefully it'll find that one. Let's just allow that. And then what it's going to do is it's going to pull in those plans, and it'll actually add them to the files. I don't know why there's nothing showing here. It'll actually add them to the files as well. Okay, so this one clearly needs saving or updating, so we'll double check that. So essentially what that basically means is Lovable can pull in your plans, but also if you have a project, you can actually tell Lovable to build that plan for you inside CodeSpring. There are external ones, I think I touched on this a minute ago, where you can actually add extra information to this as well, and I'll do a more dedicated video on how that works as well. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do inside CodeSpring. We can come back here and we can actually now come into organizations. Now organizations is a very exciting feature. Basically at the moment, if you're on the pro plan, you won't be able to create organizations or invite team members. If you're on the business plan, however, you will be able to create a new organization. Give it a name, give it a slug, and also a logo if you would like. And then all you can do is you come down to CodeSpring here, and now I'm inside my organization. So you can see I have CodeSpring projects, which are that's the name of my organization. So your organization projects are different to your personal projects. So if you want to plan something, you can do that in your personal account. But if you want to have something for your business, you can have that inside your organization account, and within that you can then invite people in your business or your team to actually then work with you on projects. So for example, if I come into this one here, you can see it's the same thing, all the tools are exactly the same, it's just a different folder or view essentially for your team. Now if you come to organization settings, you can actually go ahead and create different teams. So I've got marketing, I've got an engineering team, for example, and when I go ahead and I invite members to join my team, I can give them a role, so member, admin or owner, and I can also assign them to a team. So I could say, well, you're part of the marketing team or you're the engineering team. Now the reason we're doing this is because we've actually got a lot of plans for the business side of things for using CodeSpring. So if you come into a project here, what we're actually going to do is add various views, where if you're a business owner and you have an engineering team, they're going to be working mostly on creating technical documentation, requirement docs, planning, notes on how features work, uploading mood boards. So for example, the UI team could be working on designs, the back-end team could be creating documentation, whereas the marketing team, for example, would be looking at competitors. They would be maybe adding an external MCP to research, to plug into research that your company's done in Google Docs, for example, and then use that information to go ahead and build up your plan and make more complex views. And if that's the case, we're going to create a view where you can actually swap between seeing competitors and also, seeing the marketing view and also seeing the product view, which is going to be quite exciting. Some other things we're thinking of as well are if I've got an app that I've built as a web application, for example, and I want to go ahead and turn it into an iOS application, or I have a web application and I want to go ahead and I want to build a Chrome extension on top of it, we're actually adding the ability to clone or duplicate projects. So you'll be able to see along the top various views. So you could have your web app one, and then you could clone this whole thing. You could come to Orchestrator and you could say, we want to create a Chrome application for this, and we want to build it on top of it. Everything needs to integrate correctly. Can you go ahead and design that out for me? And it will use the content context from your web application, and it would then create you a new plan for how to build a Chrome extension as well that integrates with your web application. So that's a very, very exciting feature we're working hard on as well to bring out to you guys as well. In terms of how the business side of things work and inviting team members, we are adding into the dashboard here. So there's going to be a dashboard where you can see team members, you can see how far they've gone through projects, how complete a project is, the amount of time they've spent on projects. You can keep things organized in there. You can actually add the ability to send embedded Loom videos on how you want features to work, for example. So for example, if I want to assign I don't know, this feature to somebody, I could right click on it and I could assign it to a user. There's a whole load of features that we're doing and we're bringing out here, but we would love your feedback on the business side of things if there's anything you'd like us to add as well. For now, that's basically everything that we have access to. There's probably a couple of other bits and pieces that I've missed. If you want to upgrade to the organization, you can come to the billing, you can come to view the current plan, and then you can go ahead and you can change your plan as well, and you'll see multiple plans will come up here for you. We'll also add the ability to buy additional credits. Right now, this doesn't exist, so if it doesn't exist when you're watching this video, please email support@codespring.app and we'll get this set up for you manually on our end. You can watch the courses here. All the courses inside here at the moment are for version 1. We have the onboarding video. I definitely recommend going to watch that. But essentially all of these courses here are for version 1, but version 2's courses will be in here as well. So that'll show you how to use the software, plus I'm bringing out a whole load of courses to show you how to build multiple apps using our product as well. So that's the overview of how everything works. If you have any questions, please do email support. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to film more dedicated videos on how each individual aspect of this whole app works as well.